You're listening to Confessions of a Counselor podcast. Here we will talk all things mental wellness.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Confessions of a Counselor. I'm your host, Janice, and today I thought we would talk about the question of reassurance in therapy. So one of the biggest questions I get is, do you think I should be doing this? Am I'll use the word, crazy for doing this? And how this impacts the therapy. So oftentimes I see clients kind of seeking reassurance, seeking validation for what it is that they want to do. So let's jump right in. The thing that I see the most, or the question that I hear the most is, am I crazy for doing this? In terms of reassurance. And I think when it comes to this question, I think oftentimes what I'm hearing the clients say is, can you back me up on this, right? They're looking for that third party objective perspective. And so I think it's really important to note, where am I seeking reassurance from and who am I seeking reassurance from? And I think in the setting of therapy, this can be a very useful tool, right? To check that objective third-party perspective, to see and check in with how we're feeling. From the therapy perspective, I am not often going to tell you if it's right or wrong, right? So this question from the therapeutic perspective gives us an opportunity to explore, right? What part of me is feeling hesitant? What part of me is feeling really confident? And explore what we would call that cognitive dissonance, right? So when I'm looking for reassurance, when I want to know, am I making the right decision, which is essentially what I'm hearing you say when you say, am I crazy for thinking this? Is explore that cognitive dissonance, right? So one part of you is stating or believing this one thing, and another part of you has an opposing belief to that, right? So let's explore that cognitive dissonance. Let's explore that discomfort of two varying opinions. And I think this is where the therapeutic process can be really helpful, right? Because again, what's happening is we're reflecting to the therapist to say, am I making the right decision? Or am I totally off base here with this belief or thought or opinion that I have? And so when we can explore that opportunity to look at, what am I thinking? What am I believing? What decision am I making? That's where therapy can really thrive, right? Because it's giving us that opportunity to stop and reflect and pause before we make a decision or before we act on what we think, believe, or feel about a situation. And that's the key, right? That's what we want. We want that moment of pause before we make a decision, before we react to a situation. And when we have that moment of pause, instead of reacting from our stress response or our trauma response or how we were taught when we were younger, those kind of initial gut reactions, if we have that moment of pause, then we can start to make different choices. That's where we can start to see change happen. So when someone comes to me with the question, am I crazy for thinking this or doing this, it's really exciting. It's really exciting for me as a therapist because I'm starting to see that moment of pause start to get developed. And there's an opportunity there for growth. There's an opportunity there for change. So I think this is a really cool question, right? This is a really great question to bring to therapy and start to explore and start to understand what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're believing about us and the world around us. And so it's a wonderful question. And I'm sure that your therapist would love to explore that with you as well. Okay, until next time, take care.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Confessions of a Counselor podcast is available anywhere you like to listen to your podcast, both on Apple and Android. New episodes will be released every Friday. If you enjoyed this podcast, please feel free to join the conversation. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast hosted on the Anchor app. All these details can be found at janicelyons.com. Until next time, take care.